That's going to be exciting, right? Next time.
Okay, everyone, our last commissioner is parking right now. So once she comes in, we can just immediately get started because we're now streaming and recording. So just wanted to let everyone know. Thank you. We need quorum to actually begin the meeting, unfortunately. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Shepherd. That's just across.
Yeah, they're.
I don't see. Yeah. I know. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, very good.
Let's call the meeting to order. First order of business is to announce the next meeting, which will be 8:30 a.m. on January 27th in this room. With that, could I swear in the staff, please? Do you swear and affirm the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Say, I do.
I do.
Thank you very much. I have you here. Okay. And then could I swear, I've sworn in the staff, the board roll call, please.
Yes. Mr. Whitman,
Here.
Ms. Maniaci,
Here.
Mr. Pongonis,
Here.
Ms. Bartley,
Here.
Mr. Slanik.
Here.
Okay, and Ms. Rittler, Mr. Loversige, and Ms. Brown are not present, and we have a quorum.
Okay, very good. Would you review the
Yes.
hearing format, please?
So I will present the staff report and application materials. And then at that time, the applicant will come and sit at the presenter table here, be sworn in, and be asked to present their materials. We don't have any registered speakers, but anyone from the public can speak on the case for up to 3 minutes. And then commissioners will discuss the case and ask any questions if needed.
Very good. Could I have a motion to approve the minutes from the last meeting, please? And a second?
Second.
Thank you. Any other questions, comments, additions, deletions? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Minutes are approved. Okay, let's go on to the first case, and
Yes.
we have a switch here real quick.
Yeah, so we had a request to have the case for 96 Columbus Way go first, so we will honor that. Go
Could the
ahead.
applicants come up for a second and join us? Thank you very much. Would you identify yourselves for the record, please?
Phil Dangerfield with Haslam Sports Group.
Great.
Columbus Group.
And if you pull that mic up, maybe that'll make it easier to hear there a little bit.
Bay Abdara with Columbus Sign Company.
Very good. Would you raise your right hands? Do you swear and affirm the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? If so, say, I do.
I do.
Very good. Okay.
So 96 Columbus Crew Way is the location of the soccer stadium off of West Nationwide Boulevard. The applicant is seeking commission approval to remove the stadium's existing lower.com field graphics and replace them with Scott's Miracle Grow Field channel letter LED illuminated wall signs on the stadium's north, south, and east and west facades, as well as 2 non-illuminated roof signs facing east and west. And submitted materials include a site plan, elevations, mounting details, and renderings. And I'll let the applicant go through their materials.
Great.
But after review, the design guidelines do support illuminated graphics and state that wall signs should be proportional to the building to which they are attached. And this application is consistent with those guidelines. Thank
Great.
you.
Now, I'm going to let you folks show us real quick what you're talking about. When I look at this, is this represent pretty much a replacement of what is and has been there? Okay. Okay.
On southeast corner of the southeast facade sign that is over the plaza.
Which is really on the east wall, right? Yeah. And which way are you moving it? To the south? Or to the center? Okay, to the south. Okay, go ahead real quick if you would. Show us what you got.
Yep, relocate. Is that we're requesting RGB LED, which is smaller, but like for large events.
Okay.
soccer,
Okay.
Yeah, you want to walk us through just what we're proposing with the signs?
This is the east facade here. Originally, it was more centered on the building, so we're moving it to the south to be over the entrance gate, the main gate of the stadium. Yeah, so if you're looking at the bottom drawing, originally the sign was a bit more to the right, and then now it's to the left.
And the large letters there, are those the ones that are, I had trouble reading it, 7 foot 4 inches? Is that what we've got on there? On the letters themselves?
That looks like
7, 8, okay, all right, okay.
pretty close to what's out there today by and large.
That's
right.
And the length is about the same as well?
That's right.
Okay, and then do I understand that the ones on the north side and the south side are smaller signs?
Yeah, the three north, west, and south are the smaller one. The
And
east-
west also? Okay,
Right, yep. The east one is the one that's a bit slightly larger.
okay. Do we have questions? Comments?
Just that with the fasteners that you're using, when you remove the old sign, the lower.com sign, is there any concern about patching, or you feel that would be minimal and the new sign would cover?
It's
Especially
got-
since you're moving the location.
Right,
on the
it's
east
fairly
side.
minimal because the fastener we use is about 3/8 of an inch in diameter.
Mhm.
And the letters, they look big, but they're hollow, so they're pretty light. Like none, I don't believe any of the letters are over 100 pounds. So yeah, it's minimal. And then the facade of the building itself, they're perforated, so
Oh, okay,
yeah, so it's just blending in anyway.
Okay,
Yep.
great.
Are there other questions? Comments? What's the pleasure of the group? There's a motion and a second. Any other questions or comments?
Who seconded?
Is this on the light on this, will this be I'm sorry, Tony, you had a question? Oh, yes, right, Tony was second. Is the light adjustable? Is it going to be on during the day? How does that work?
They can be adjusted, but I believe with the, don't remember, if the current one is based on a meter that's based on what's outside. If once it's dark, it lights.
Okay, and you would tend to do the same thing with this? Does that mean it's on all night long then, or? Okay. Okay, other questions? Anything from the audience? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? Motion carries.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks very much. Next case, please.
Yep.
And folks, thanks for your patience today. So we're trying to keep things moving as best we can, and we appreciate this here.
You want to swear him in, Steve, and then I can read? Or,
Would you identify yourselves for the record, please?
Joyce Landwehr with Premier. Ariana Shaw, project architect with Premier.
Jonathan Hagenau, Corda, civil engineer.
Would you raise your right hands? Do you swear and affirm that the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? If so, say, I do.
I do. I do.
Thank you very much.
okay. So this is for 50 South Front Street, which is located just south of the corner of South Front Street and West Capitol Street, and is the former location of the DoubleTree Suites Hotel. The applicant is seeking commission approval for exterior building updates near and at the main entry, as well as a new canopy sign and a reface of an existing projecting sign. The building updates include a new ADA ramp, refacing of the canopy, new garage screening, new metal panels, and new lighting. And the proposed canopy sign will be 24 feet 4 inches wide by 4 feet tall and consist of illuminated channel letters mounted to a raceway. Submitted application materials include site photos, a site plan, floor plan, demolition plan, reflected ceiling plans, elevations, material details, sign details, and a rendering. And I'll let the applicants present their materials. But after analysis, the guidelines recommend that awnings and framing systems should be compatible with building design and that darker colors are strongly encouraged. They note that contemporary designs and materials for ground floor uses are appropriate, but should be compatible with the scale and building and place in the streetscape. And further, they state that new signage should be a logical and complementary component of the overall design of a storefront and that it may be illuminated. Lastly, they recommend that projecting signs are preferred in the downtown and that they should be proportional to the building. And this proposal is consistent with those guidelines. Thank you.
Very good. Would you go ahead and just walk us through your application, please?
Absolutely. So as she indicated, we're requesting it's basically a renovation for the existing hotel at 50 South Front Street to the Marriott brand conversion. We will be reskinning that existing canopy structure that you see over the doorway there. There's some existing rock beds that exist underneath that canopy that we will be removing all of those and filling with brick pavers. We will also have the ADA compliant ramp near the valet right there at the front entrance. There's going to be new garage screening at the existing garage openings, which you see down that wall. New lighting at the entry. Not really a reviewable out of, but new potted plants at the entries too, because there is some existing plants there. So this is the new elevation with the new, showing the new signage. It will be the Marriott signage on top of the canopy, and then there is existing blade sign face replacements on the left. You can see the double tree that is going to the right, the Marriott.
Same size, same frame?
Yes.
Yep,
for the
thank you.
blade. Mhm. And again, this is.
So there was no sign on the canopy,
There was a
double tree, small one, I see
Yeah,
it
that in
there.
that gold area.
Yeah, okay.
Yes. So this one does, obviously it's larger than the
Okay.
existing sign and it sits atop the.
And the whole metal, there's no glass on the new canopy, then it's just metal, right?
Correct, it's all metal.
Okay.
So interior lit channel letters, is that what we're looking at?
Hmm.
And how about the glass on the doors? Does that get replaced as well then, right there at the entries?
Go ahead. Barb.
Only if needed.
I'm sorry, say?
Only if needed.
So
Okay.
they're gonna clean and repair the existing,
So it'll be basically what's there.
yes.
Okay.
Mhm.
And then the pavers obviously are new.
Yeah, correct.
And that replaces,
Samples of the
Okay.
materials. if you have any questions.
sure, and that replaces concrete sidewalks?
Yes.
Okay. Lighting fixtures, does that show what the new ones are then?
Yes.
And where are the screens? Show us the screens that you're going to replace for the, do you have a elevation or a view of that in there? Okay. Just the ones immediately next to the glass doors?
The
then?
full length.
Oh, the whole length along there.
The wall.
And do you have a, do you have a sample of that then?
Also, yeah, on the very last page, it also will show that too.
Sure. Okay.
It'll be this color.
Okay.
Perforated panel about 4 inches off the face of the facade. And it will have a
Stick out.
wave,
Okay.
a polka dot, like it's not polka dot, but it's dotted perforated as a wave.
Okay.
That was my question. So that wave will really be like a tone on tone design on the panel.
Yes, it's shown in the render.
Mhm.
If we can pop back to that, not that one, but the second option.
Is the lighting that's underneath the canopy, the down lighting, that's new then as well, right?
Yes.
Correct.
Okay. My take on this is a nice improvement. I mean, I think it wanted to be freshened and brightened and brought up to speed. And I like what you're doing here. Good. Okay, yes. Oh, that's better to see.
When we look at the rendering, the close-up that you were showing of the perforated panel and the wave design, which I think is a wonderful idea, it looks like is the intention that some of it will be open and some closed so that the lighting on the inside will create or accentuate the pattern more in the
Yes.
evening hours?
Yes.
Okay, great.
By the way, I think that larger sign is much better
Yeah.
than that little tiny thing that was there before. What's the pleasure of the group? Any comments, thoughts? Anything from the audience?
I had one more.
Go
comment.
ahead, please.
I really like the new signage and I like everything you're doing here. The only thing, and I don't know if others would agree with me, but with the projecting sign, I just somehow feel that maybe if the background was not white and was a darker color, almost like the night scene that you show, the night view
Okay.
of that, because I feel that to me, it just seems a little bit like conflicting with the building.
Okay.
And I feel because it's a more of like an urban environment, cosmopolitan environment, maybe something that is a little darker
Okay.
might blend in better, but still be able to give you that identification that you need. So that's just, I don't know, that's just my feeling about it, where it just seems to not work well with the building. Kind of
Okay.
conflict with the building.
That bracket on there is, to my taste, is not great either there that holds that sign up. I don't know
So
if you want to, yeah.
he did note in his sign package that the night view is the black. So during the daytime, it's the
white.
lighter, the white, and then at the nighttime, it does show up as the black.
Really?
background. I-
So it'd actually be more visible that way.
Right.
Perception of it, but.
So the black letters, the black word that says Marriott has the ability to turn white at night?
From the sign package that he's proposed, it will turn, the M will still remain the red, but then
Yeah.
the letters will be white at night.
Magic.
I don't know if it's changes your note or your opinion, or if you want us to just look at the dark all the way around, you
Yeah,
know.
I've just something to consider. I just feel like when I look at that, I just feel like it could have maybe a little more of an elegance to it
Mhm.
or work better with the building. And that's just like, I don't know if that projection sign and that color palette with that background is the prototype and that's used everywhere for the Marriott, or in different cities and different locations, if there's some flexibility to work well with the building.
We'll certainly take note of that and take that back to the brand and see what options that they might have. Absolutely.
I would be fine with those gold brackets going away. It feels like that's a remnant of the old DoubleTree
That's
branding,
true, yeah.
right? Not gonna hold you up, but I agree with Steve. It's not great.
Okay.
It'd be more attractive. My only question about the black would be if it's more readable with the white during the day, light hours, frankly. So I don't know, you folks can look at that. What do we want to do here? Is there
Well, I did have one other question.
Okay.
With your pavers, it looks like when you have the, just the sample picture of the photo, it's a herringbone pattern, but on the plan, it is a like a running bond. So are you using herringbone or the running bond for the pavement?
So the main
pavers?
entry in the brown, red will be the herringbone,
Mhm.
and then the running bond will be in the gray.
Oh,
and where does the running bond go then? Where does the gray go?
all
It
over.
kind of goes
In the
adjacent
middle?
to the red.
Adjacent to the red?
Yes, so
Okay.
see that this piece has to be replaced because of damage, and there's also an existing red concrete kind of running this.
Okay.
We'll repair that with the gray, and then only your main entry into the building will be the red.
Okay, everybody get that one? Okay, any other questions? Jana, anything else to ask?
What was the conversation about ADA compliance? You kind of have that ramp, you kind of come in off the valet and then it goes up each side. It ramps up. But I'm imagining a car being parked there and then it's blocking it and then there is no ADA accessibility.
So currently there's a 5-inch curb, which doesn't allow any accessibility using that valet parking. So the thought was if you pull up far enough, at least you're able to get out of your vehicle and use the now flat zone, kind of center those elevators to roll out on, and then you can pick your direction either way.
Yeah, it just seems like an odd layout to me.
So where is there just just that section there in the middle?
Yep.
which is the
Where the building-
handicap
so kind
accessible.
of where the building juts out and then it's sort of a pinch point. It's kind of a weird spot to put it.
Yeah.
Kind of center the existing elevators.
So that whole section there, which is 17 feet long?
Yes.
You know, one thing you could do here is drop the entire curb.
Yep.
So you have a flush curb condition for as much of that valet drop as possible.
Okay.
So you're not necessarily worried about where a car pulls up or who's blocking who.
Mhm.
Like, would be pretty typical in a hotel auto court. And, you know, there may be some grading concerns, but if you got it to work at the pinch point,
Exactly.
it seems
work.
like it might be able to work elsewhere.
I think that might be a good solution for you folks. I don't think it would interfere with anything you're thinking about or trying to do, would it?
Yeah, Columbus has three kind of locations. On the pull-off lanes, they have the center drop ramp and then two at the diagonal locations. At the front of the pull-off lane or at the rear. So we could.
You can only do it in those areas?
That's following for the city of.
So
Columbus
literally you
standards.
could not do the whole thing as a handicap curb?
That is not.
And
one of
why, I wonder
Columbus's
why
standards.
that would be.
Yeah.
Did you ask?
We can definitely bring that into conversation if that would be something they would consider for the right-of-way scope.
I'll be
Seen
darned.
that
That's
discussion.
interesting.
They do it
Yeah, I think we've done that.
100 times, if not
Yeah.
1,000. Right.
It's a better customer situation. That's the point.
I think
here.
it is
We're not
too.
trying to redesign it for you. It's just better for your customer, right?
Yeah. Okay, well, let's figure out where we are and move this along. What do we want to do? Talk about it more? Anybody ready to make a motion?
One really quick.
Okay,
thing.
go ahead.
You have the wood look
Mhm.
panels. And then on either side of the entry, you have that same material, but I think you called it in a louver format, like in a louver design. And I didn't see a photo of that or anything. Can you just quickly describe what that would be? It's the same color, but this is is that for aesthetics or is there any function for?
There's no function. It's strictly for aesthetics.
Mhm.
It will be in the mocha oak.
Mm-hmm.
It will match the soffit. So the
Mhm.
thought is that it will walk down the window.
Okay.
And it's just to help, again, Marriott really wanted our front door to, give direction. And so it's another way to help people focus on that's our front door.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay. Other questions? Any thoughts? Anything else? Comments? Okay. What's the pleasure of the group, please? Let's suppose somebody could do a motion.
So I
Yeah,
think
why
there's
don't we do
two
that?
things that we were asking them to consider.
Right.
Correct me if I'm wrong. One is a better situation for ADA accessibility at the auto court, and two
Mhm.
was to consider the white versus black sign and the blade above the primary sign. I think that's what we've asked them to do.
Right, or a darker colored.
Sure, yeah.
Mhm.
So I'm happy with them considering it. I would approve it like this.
We
but
would not make it a requirement then.
nice suggestions from
Okay,
my perspective.
okay. Can we, and then is that a motion then?
That's a motion.
Okay,
You'd like that motion, Belkis?
Yeah, that's
Okay.
great.
okay. And is there a second for that motion?
I'll second.
Okay, the motion is on the floor. Now, other questions or comments? Anything from the audience? We ready to go? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed? The motion carries. Okay, so you understand where we are. It's approved with, and you're gonna see what you can do with the city on broadening that handicapped section of the curbing there. And then that sign, you're gonna take another look at it and come up with what the best solution is among which, among that, and along with that look, maybe considering that bracket there going away or being replaced. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
Okay.
All right, so the next application is for 33 South 4th Street, the mixed-use tower.
Good morning. Could you identify yourselves for the record, please?
Josh Thomas, Cathcart Architect.
Tom Morano, the Edwards Companies.
Okay. Would you raise your right hands? Do you swear and affirm that the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? If so, say I do.
I do.
Thank you very much. Belkis?
Great. So this is for 33 South Fourth Street, which consists of 6 parcels with a surface parking lot located at the southwest corner of South Fourth Street and East Capitol Street. The applicant is seeking commission approval to construct a 12-story mixed-use building, including 225 structured parking spaces, first-floor commercial space, and a mix of 218 studio, 1-bedroom, and 2-bedroom apartment units. The building will also include a dog park, a 3rd-story landscape courtyard, and rooftop amenity spaces. Exterior materials include brick, metal panels, stucco, limestone cladding, copper standing seam, metal siding, custom wall sconces, and green roof awnings. The applicant was last before the commission for a conceptual review of the project in August of 2025. Commissioners were generally supportive of the proposal and recommended more articulation of the middle base of the eastern facade, consideration of how the elevated walkway connects to the building, as well as how the mansard roof turns the corner. In response to commission feedback, the applicant included a north elevation showing the connection to the elevated walkway and updated renderings to show the middle base of the eastern facade. And submitted materials include a site plan, floor plans, elevations, sections, material details, renderings, and landscape plans. And I'll let the applicant present their materials. The downtown design guidelines recommend that commercial ground floor uses, high-quality durable materials, lighting that minimizes light spill, transparent clear storefronts, landscaping, and rooftop structures that are complementary to the building. The guidelines note that structured parking is preferred, but that the exterior design should minimize the monotony of its underlying structure system through wall mass and window openings and variation in color, material, or texture. And the application is consistent with the downtown design guidelines as noted in the basis table below. Thank you.
Great. Okay, well, as you well know, you have been here before and we've talked about this project. So let's just go ahead and jump into it. I think maybe a good place to start is a couple of the tweaks that I think you put together in response to our last discussion.
Yes. Thank you for the introduction, Belkis. The middle base that we have there in the black masonry, provides about a 12 to 14 inch setback from the limestone towers that we have on 3rd Street, providing some of that difference in depth that was requested in the last meeting. We did study the mansard roof, returning back. I have an image here from a previous iteration through the design.
Can we see that? You have something that shows us the mansard roof?
It's not a part of the presentation. We have it as just a supplemental exhibit if we can offer that to the group.
And so what did you do then? I can't remember what we wanted you to do and what you did. Oh, it turns the corner. Yeah.
It's a sort of a parapeted condition at the side.
Yeah, yeah.
And the group asked that we study, and we actually previously studied even before we arrived at that, kind of turning that mansard roof
Like it would be like this, yeah. And decided that doesn't work?
A few versions of that, and internally, we like ownership, we prefer what's on the screen rather than turning the mansard back. I think it makes the unit better on that top floor. It's a 2-story sort of penthouse unit.
Yeah.
And I think what we show on the screen is actually it's a better solution for the unit, but it's also kind of what we prefer aesthetically.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
No, that's it.
Okay, I had a question. When I look at this drawing though, underneath, it looks like the configuration of the windows and the balconies are slightly different, but this is what you're proposing, what you have here. And I had a comment about that. It looks like where that window is and the balcony is set in the corner, and even on your rendering, it looks like there might be heavy shadowing in there. I was wondering if you had thought about, like what those windows are and that balcony, either extending the balcony out a little bit beyond the window to the east, or maybe slightly shifting the window so it's a little bit, maybe not centered in that wall, but, you know, maybe not right against that.
So it's not so much in the corner. in the
Yeah,
shadow.
I think that, like, I can totally understand why you like this detail better where the mansard isn't turning back. But I do think that the window so far away does make, you know, does create, you know, like a
Mhm.
starkness there. And maybe if that's slightly moved to the east,
We can
and maybe
study that.
even if you don't want to move the window because of functional issues, the balcony can be maybe extended out a little bit. So maybe just two ways to look at that.
Okay.
Could you walk through for just a second with the materials? I know you gave us a very good, on the facades, I know you gave us a very detailed set of drawings here. Some of it was a little hard for me to read. So the entire front of the part that sticks out on either end here, that's limestone, is that correct? Does it go all the way up to the mansard roof then? Okay. And then the section in the middle here that's set back, that's the black brick, is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay, and then on that wall that Jana was talking about, where you have the windows there, where that looks like brick.
It's brick intended to match the color of limestone.
Ah,
Yeah.
okay. And then when you go back from there, the sections in the back are stucco, right? Okay. And then on the sides, what are the sides of the buildings? And on the north side and there we go, and the south side?
It's brick to match the limestone.
Brick. Okay,
30,
so
40 feet back, and then it transitions to stucco where our stair towers occur.
okay, show me where that would show up on that elevation then roughly.
Where, if you see where the building steps up, we move back from the mansard roof and the building steps up.
No, yeah, okay.
Approximately at that line is where the transition.
And so forward from there towards the street is brick. And then back from there back is stucco. And is the west side of the building also stucco then?
Yes.
Okay, and you would have the same kind of material detail on the north side, I assume?
Yes.
Okay.
Similar treatment.
And the green roofs on the top, are those the copper standing metal seam?
Yes, natural copper.
Okay, wow,
Natural cover.
Yes.
nice.
That's good.
Okay. Do you have pictures of your lamps? Then you said you have custom made, there we go. And those are what you're proposing then?
This is the best representation we can offer for a custom lamp that we're looking to provide for the project,
Okay,
and scaled to match on the building and through that
Okay.
product data.
and the windows are black metal frame in the front?
Dark bronze metal frame.
Dark bronze.
On the storefront.
Actually this is the window we intend to use. This
On
is-
the units?
This would be the color.
At
This
the
color's
units.
black.
Yeah, but along the, where you have the inset there and the big commercial first floor spaces.
Yes, the
That's-
floor, that's curtain, storefront
Okay, yeah.
with a dark bronze.
And then
finish.
that's black metal there in those space, inside the spaces there where the,
Yes.
okay.
Where you are returning, you know, you have your limestone cladding on the two towers, and then you have the black brick center portion recessed a bit. I think you said 12 inches or 14
About 12 to
inches?
14 inches, yes.
Right, and does that, right where the cursor is right there, is that, is that returned, is the limestone cladding returned to the black brick, or is that stopped and then you have the other lighter brick?
No, the limestone will meet the
Will
black.
meet the black brick?
Yes.
Oh,
If
that's
you
good,
look
for the
just
first
above
two
the
levels.
Side, you can see the limestone turn back about.
Yeah,
14
right.
inches.
Okay, I think that's a good detail.
Thank you.
Well, gorgeous. Any other questions or comments?
Do you have an elevation of the back of the building?
There is a
I think there was. I can't-
two-dimensional elevation. Top
Does
right,
do the,
bottom left.
are these retail spaces? Is that the idea on the first floor, commercial of some sort?
There's our leasing office is on the corner, the
Right.
northeast corner, and then
Yeah.
retail spaces.
Okay, so are those, and then is that a two-story space? How high is that? on the first floor there?
Single story.
It varies. It's a story to story.
So when you look at it, you see, it looks like 2 floors from and it is 2 floors.
Yes.
Okay, and both of which are commercial/retail. Okay.
Yeah.
And then above that is the apartments then, right?
Correct.
Okay. And then in the middle section where you have the garden over it, that is all commercial in there then, right? All retail?
Yes.
Okay. And does that go all the way to the back of the building then?
No, it backs up to the garage. 'Cause
The
is
garage.
internal.
Gotcha. Okay. Other questions or comments?
I have just a question and some comments about, well, mainly questions about the residential entry. So last time we met, you were explaining that the residential entry is mainly going to be from the east facade, the north,
Yep.
your
All the
northeast.
way to the right.
Right. And then you also have like a north entry as well. And when I look at the floor plan, it looks like the north entry is a little bit more direct into the lobby, and the east one seems to go through the leasing office. So I'm just wondering which you see as the primary residential entry, how you see people using these 2 entries, and if you have any concerns about like how that works going through the leasing office, how, do you walk in and there's a lobby and then there's a leasing office a little bit off? I'm not really quite sure how you see that all being utilized. And if the north entry is something that you see being utilized quite a bit, I think maybe it would be worth studying, how do you enhance that? Maybe with one of your beautiful custom chandelier sconces that you're producing, or something else, or maybe returning limestone back on that wall for a couple of floors, something so that that north entry doesn't really look like back of house, but is also a prominent entry too, if that's going to be used a lot. And it seems like it's a direct entry into your residential lobby.
So I guess to answer your question, if you're at the street level, your primary entry is through the leasing center on the east. And that's typically what we do. We normally have a couple offices sort of secluded to the side that are our leasing agents. And we always do our mail and packages because they control deliveries for people, large boxes, et cetera. So most people come and go through the leasing office.
Okay.
And they pick up their mail, jump in the elevators and go up. So if you're on the ground level, you're definitely going in through the east. The north entry is primarily off of the elevated walkway that we just remodeled, that black walkway that's behind the PNC building.
Mhm.
So that will link you into the second floor. So I assume if you're parking in one of the garages, like the Capitol Plaza garage, and you come across the walkway, you can dart in the building that way.
Okay, so you don't see that first floor entry in the north as really a primary entry. You're seeing most
would-
people are coming through that.
Yeah,
Well, what if the
Yes.
leasing office is closed? I mean, do they?
everybody can fob in the building.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mhm. Okay, well, thank you.
Yeah, the leasing is really just like, they're almost like private offices within that common ground, that first floor area.
Can you walk us through this walkway connection then too for a second, if you would?
You go to level 3. The walkway connection is, we see there, we come in near the elevator 1, there's a stair connection that comes up to the 3rd floor landing. There's also a direct connection to the elevator for accessibility to get us up to that 3rd floor of the apartment building. So as Tom was saying, you can connect from the other apartment or parking structures and get your access to the building as a tenant here.
Is that on the same level as, it looked like it was?
It's approximately a 6-foot variation from,
So how do you, is it a ramp then?
it's a stair
Ah.
it's a stair up from the
Yeah.
elevated walk.
Yeah.
And then
There.
the elevator has a direct access point.
So you walk up, you walk up into the entry to the building,
Correct.
Yes.
as opposed to walking up from the building into the, right, gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so that elevated walkway sort of links all of our properties downtown. It gets you to 195 East Broad Street. We're improving the Capitol Plaza garage. We're securing that and putting rolling gates to secure that garage so some of our residents can park there. And then it links to the PNC building, which is now Preston Center. And then it will now take you all the way to Third Street where it's gonna come down to grade in front of the Galleria building.
Right. Okay, other questions, comments?
What do we think about this mansard roof thing?
From my standpoint, it's okay. In fact, I can see why maybe in a way it's almost better because it makes the mansard in front of the building wider as opposed to having to kind of condense it a little bit to get it to squeeze around the corner there. And I think, if you think about buildings, I mean, I don't, wherever you are, let's say Paris is the classic mansard roof place. They would build these buildings up against each other. So you'd really have kind of a parapet wall. So that in a way, the mansard would go from parapet wall to parapet wall. So, and they were kind of
Sure.
bunched up against each other. So I personally did not have a problem with it. In fact, I'd almost like it better this way.
That's my feeling too. At first when the comment was suggested last time, I thought that's a great idea to turn it. I thought it was a
Yeah.
wonderful idea. But when I was reviewing this last weekend, I was looking at it and I thought, there's an authenticity to it because that's really how you would see this in, like, I haven't been to Paris, but I've seen photos, but certainly in New York City, when you see those
Sure.
Beaux-Art buildings, that's really how it would look. And so it has, to me, more of like an urban authenticity to it. Instead of maybe how you would see this, maybe how you might see in Disneyland, how they would turn it. But that's just my feeling too.
Okay.
But, I'm open to hear what you would think.
No, that turned me, that comment. At first, I kind of thought the same thing. It's like, it feels like it's like Old West, it's the facade and then it doesn't turn back. But within the context of history and certainly, the value that we bring to the table related to Paris and how it would actually be, I'm kind of back to where you guys are at.
That authenticity was something we were really considering as we were evaluating the two
Mhm.
options and how.
I think what's so interesting about this project is that you have different elements. It's not all the same. It's very eclectic, but every element that you're using is executed so well so that it is different, but it just is also cohesive in that quality and in the choices you're making. So, if you look at that center portion where the cursor was, that, has a different feel to it, but it's very well done. And then, your industrial windows and then, just the different elements. And then the black portion in the center too, very simple, but elegant.
These are always big projects and you try to break it down into smaller components that are, more humanly scaled and relatable. And then we always think of these buildings as evolving over time. Those two limestone pieces were probably there a long time and then somebody black piece at some point. So we generally try to do that with our buildings, make them feel like they've evolved, even though they're all new.
Now, tell us a little bit about this third floor garden area there in the middle. It looks like it's just for looking at and walking through perhaps. Is that correct?
It's resident only.
But there's no pool there. There's no
It's just walking paths.
bar, no tiki bar.
The accommodation is purely through benches and some areas to sit, more of a passive relief. The amenities occur at the 12th floor of this building that include the pool, the clubhouse, grilling areas.
Okay.
I noticed you have bollards and you have tree uplights, but you don't have downlights in that space. Do you feel there'll be enough light with the two lights without any downlighting?
I think so. And a lot of times we try to keep those spaces dimmer just because you have so many apartments and the light bleed into windows and things like that. So generally we kind of try to keep it a little bit darker, but.
What is the lighting on the building other than the big brass lanterns out in front then?
We don't have substantial exterior lighting beyond those accent pieces.
Okay. So if you ever wanted to do other lighting or signage or something, you can come back and see us then.
Yeah, we'll do that
Okay.
for sure.
Okay, guys.
We haven't even named the building, so we'll be back with some signage.
Okay, good. Any other questions or comments, folks? Thoughts?
Move to approve.
There's a motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second?
Okay, there's a second. Again, any questions, comments? Thoughts? Anything from the audience? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, have a good one. And all the windows, I assume, are going to be these Pella other than the storefront sections. Okay. If you want your samples there, you can take. it. Okay, Belkis, we'll let you
Okay.
roll with the next.
So this is our last application on the agenda. This is for 410 South High Street, which is located at the block bounded by East Mound Street to the north, South High Street to the west, East Fulton Street to the south, and the Franklin County Parking Garage to the east. The site currently holds the former Dorian Commons Park, which opened in 1976, and a municipal building built in 1955. The applicant is seeking commission approval to demolish both the former park site and the James A. Carnes Municipal Building and construct a new 8-story City of Columbus Municipal Court building. Included in the design is a pedestrian bridge over South High Street to connect the court building directly to the city attorney offices within the 375 South High Street building. The applicant will salvage historical items on the site and will be replacing the mature trees as well. Proposed materials include aluminum curtain walls, metal panels, and precast concrete panels. And the applicant was last before the commission for a conceptual review in the September 2025, where they were recommended to fortify the streetscape along High Street as it appeared minimalistic, reevaluate the location of the programming along it, which included the ADA drop-off, bus stop, and covered bike parking, consider how the ADA ramp interacts with the entry doors, lighten the pedestrian bridge, and study the proportions and relationship from floors 1 and 2 to floor 3 with the setback of the podium. In response to commission feedback, the applicant moved the connector bridge north, relocated the covered bike parking to Mound Street, proposed a relocation of the existing bus stop further north along High Street, adjusted the parking and circulation along the east alleyway, and included an enlarged site plan showing how the ADA ramp ties into the entry doors. Submitted materials include existing site context photos, demolition plan, historical inventory, tree replacement plan, site strategy drawings, site plans, floor plans, building sections, elevations, material details, sections, renderings, and landscape information. And I'll let the applicant present their submittal package. And after analysis, the downtown design guidelines state that the downtown district code requires a certificate of appropriateness for demolitions and that a replacement use or plan be approved by the downtown commissions. The guidelines note that maximizing the investment potential of a given site is encouraged, but so is preservation of existing building stock. The guidelines encourage the commissioners to consider if demolition would allow for new development in which their opinion is of greater significance to the character of the surrounding area. For new construction, the guidelines recommend commercial ground floor uses, high-quality durable materials, lighting that minimizes light spill, transparent, clear storefronts, and complementary landscaping. They also note that skywalks are generally not supported because street-level pedestrian activity is critical to the downtown's quality of life and energy. However, in cases where a skywalk is supported, its design and color should be such that it is muted, sides at least 50% transparent, and its overall presence subdued to not draw attention to itself. The application is generally consistent with the downtown design guidelines as noted in the basis table below, and staff notes that the Department of Public Service maintains authority over access to the right-of-way, and that being for that Sky Bridge portion. Thank you.
Okay, very good. Would you identify yourselves for the record, please? No, could you, is that on, turned on, or
Check if that's on.
tap that mic a second? There you go. On?
Okay.
Oh,
There.
a little better. Try,
Huh.
yeah, go ahead.
Rob, Mark Parrish, AECom.
Chris Laster, landscape architect at Edge.
Could you raise your right hands? Do you swear and affirm the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? So say I do.
I do.
Thank you very much. Okay. Walk us through it, and maybe we have seen this. Why don't you start with some of the adjustments you've made here for us, if you would, please?
Will do. I think what we'll do then is, why don't we spin through it? We'll spend a little bit more time with the site plan since those have more developed drawings for you. So just, for the record here, this project is off of High Street between Mound and Fulton, really at this kind of gateway moment at the south end of downtown on I-70/71 there, directly adjacent to the existing Franklin County Government Center, the Common Pleas Courthouse, and this, really this area we've called Justice Square here. I think what's really developed, the massing is quite similar to what we talked about last time, essentially a podium tower configuration that works really hard to bring the scale of the building down at the pedestrian zone there and really tie in contextually to some of the existing historical commercial building stock there, as well as the scale of the entry pavilions of both the Government Center and the Common Pleas Courthouse. And then the site here, there were some questions, particularly around the streetscapes when we came for a conceptual review, excuse me. And so with that, I'm going to let Chris walk through these and just some of the adjustments we've made, why we've made them, and then just some of the kind of tug and pull that has to happen between all the pieces on site that are required jurisdictionally.
Sure. Thanks, Mark. So you'll see along High Street, one of the comments that we received was that it wasn't as lush as the other streetscapes were appearing. So we made an effort to enlarge the tree planters along that. You'll see that CODA has requested an additional bus stop. So we have accommodated that, but we had to resize the streetscapes planters to kind of make that more minimalistic and give the trees a lot more soil volume to, for the health of the trees. For Fulton, we are responding to the ODOT plans. So you'll see there's now on-street parking, as well as trees and tree grates rather than planters. And that's just to be consistent with that existing ODOT plan. And not too many changes along Mound. However, we did relocate the bike shelter and put the flagpoles out into the planters to have a consistent planter experience there. But also know that the flagpoles, if they were placed within our property line, the flags would be hitting the building, likely damaging them. I think that's the big site plan changes.
Yeah, I think two things I'd maybe note on there on the flagpole piece, that's something that's being negotiated, right, with the city, and that there's a precedent for that at the Common Pleas. That's what's been done, and so hopeful that will go through and be taken into account. And I think the other thing we talked about last time, maybe worth hitting on, is on High Street in the south end of the block by the pedestrian bridge, the ADA pull-off there. And why that's located there in large part is those CODA bus stations are to some degree non-negotiable. They are where they are. And so as Chris noted, we've negotiated those planters and those planter beds around them and made them as fulsome as we can within the requirements of that zone. And then additionally, because of where the bus pull in, you really need a certain amount of pull-out space for those stalls to negotiate around a bus if it were stopped there. And so that really starts to set a work point of where those ADA stalls have to be in that pull-out zone. So to some degree, there's minimal flexibility to fit in all of the the requirements that are there for the project along this right of way.
I've got a little question about, and it relates to the kind of what's across the street from these. Are these, the planters, are they similar? Do they relate to what's on the west side of the street and catty corner in front of the courthouse and along the west side of Mound Street there?
Yeah, that's a great question. The short answer is yes and no. I think There is no standard streetscape along High Street in particular. With the age of the buildings at the Franklin County Government Center, there's essentially raised planters that act as kind of bollards and a security perimeter out along the right of way and essentially at the curb line. There's probably, I think, I'm doing this from memory, 3 or 4 different planters that serve that function as you go south along High Street here. But there really are no consistent street trees here. So there's 1 or 2 in front of the last tower here, the limestone one, that are hanging in there, to be honest, struggling a little bit. And then north on the block there are no, there's, I think, 1 at the end right before we get to the plaza. So no real consistent cadence, I think, in part just because they went in over, over a long period of time.
And when I see your drawing, it strikes me that, there would be something nice if we could kind of have it match, if we're talking about something like a place.
Yep.
Okay, we're doing this intersection. Let's call it Courthouse Square, whatever we're calling it. But if the southeast corner related to the northwest corner and the southwest corner and all this kind of thing, and the street, even if we had to go back and kind of modify some of them a little bit to come up with something. Now, see, we're going to be talking about, we are in the process of talking about the
across the street.
Exactly.
Yep.
On the where the jail goes away
Yeah.
in that section. So, I mean, we have an opportunity to maybe match, and maybe we come in, maybe you can't do the entire strip of the west side of High Street between Mound and Fulton, but maybe we could do something somewhere that would kind of match what's on the other side. I mean, that would be to me, that would be a nice thing. And we begin to, again, create this space maybe. Otherwise, it looks like 3 separate, 4 separate, 5 separate buildings that were done, 1 here, 1 there, and so on, with no connection.
I do believe that with that early learning center project that's going on, again, different team, but from the SD package that we were able to see was along Mound Street, at least we're consistent. High Street, I'm not sure how much of that is being touched. However, I believe CODA is asking for bus shelters there as well, so that might impact that. But I can't speak to that.
I think 2 things in the spirit of your point that we are doing that, within the realm of what we control, I think is perhaps beneficial to the city and to the, just kind of the urban experience is, I'll start at the south side. So ODOT's doing a lot of work associated with the 2 lids at Front Street and then here at High Street. The Front Street one, I think, is near finishing up, and then the High Street one, we're starting up here. The palette, that kind of brick corner, all of the crossings, and then all of the streetscape along Fulton on the south end is essentially consistent across those 2 blocks, and that's part of that ODOT project. And so there is parity and consistency at the southwest corner of our site and the southeast corner of the government center. I think similarly on the north side of our project, at the northwest corner, the 3 corners that have those judicial facilities associated with them. So our northwest corner, the lower left on the page, and then the 2 across the street on the west side of High Street, both have a similar, not just planting plan or kind of intent, but also the hardscape. So that paving at the corner, that alternating striping, bringing those pavers, that more kind of textural, kind of handcrafted scale and just finished quality is all consistent across the 3 corners that are part of the judicial facilities here in Columbus. The northeast corner, you want to get that right. The northeast corner, the commercial buildings there, those brick buildings, the red brick of the intersection is what is at the kind of pedestrian right of way there. So it's not that dark gray paver. And part of that is, that's controlled by those owners, and hopefully someday down the road, we could find a way to make parity there. So you had 4 corners that kind of completed the thought of that judicial square.
Yeah.
I think the last thing I'd note is, by trying to make those planners as big as possible, and that's something we're working through with the city, that is not city standard, right? So those are bigger, and we're negotiating that. I think one of the intentions behind the city standard is to ensure that there is space for pedestrians to get out of cars, right, and into the right of way. So there's ample space to move through that planted zone. I think in this instance, because we do not have that zone, right? This is a bus stop that is accounted for, and then the ADA pull-offs, which are accounted for. We actually see that there's some benefit to the city there by those being more lush, because it actually prevents people from jaywalking across this this busy part of High Street. And if anybody spent any time down there, you see it, right? People are on the other side of the street and they run across as fast as they can because the bus is coming, and it actually
Stop
eliminates
cars along the street and
exactly
get in and.
And so having a little bit more buffer to prevent that and keep people within the kind of pedestrian portion of that right of way, we think has some real benefit.
Yeah, okay. Okay, well, that would be a comment from me.
On that same thread, can you talk a little bit about the vertical walls, stairs, details that are in the landscape? Just thinking about tying these details together and just thinking a little bit about what that pedestrian environment looks like.
Sure. And this is kind of a departure from what is seen at the government center, is that we take the steps that would usually, it varies anywhere from 6 to 8 stairs. And instead of pushing them all together to make kind of like a barrier, we spread them out into 2-step increments to make it feel more inviting. So that's why you see that change there. In terms of the wall, we have one wall along High Street that is accepting the ADA route up. Yep, right there. And in doing some grading studies, I think we note on there that it is, or maybe we don't, but it was 4.9%. We were able to get that down to 1.9, just with some looking at some creative grading in there. So that'll actually just feel like a route instead of a ramp. And then in terms of there is a wall that we show along Mound Street heading back towards Pearl Alley. So that's it's kind of 2-part. One, it's for building protection, but 2, it's also to give some kind of soil volume to these trees as they head towards the east, while also trying to hide this egress route so that it's not seen as an entry to the building, rather just an egress for level 0.
Do you have any details to show that stuff?
I don't believe there's details in this package, but you might have one in the rendering.
Probably can pick that up in our.
I heard a comment about replacing mature trees. Where does that occur here?
Yeah, so within the first maybe 5 or 6 pages of the set here, the submission is all of our demolition information. And so the existing Dorian Commons Park there, and then the Cairns building are both scheduled to be fully demolished. That's the intention. There are substantial trees there. We've got the whole removal schedule and all of the impacts associated with that. And what we've tried to do is, as hard as possible, is to get as many trees as we can, either on our property or within the streetscape.
In these planters?
The trees themselves?
Yeah.
Yeah, so most of that, as we've gone through, is at the right of ways to the degree possible, and then at this north end where we've got about 12, I think it's 12, 15 feet left of open air area there on our parcel. We've planted to the max degree possible to continue that kind of green buffer and that logic of and you'll see it if you go back 3 images maybe from here. If you pause there.
What would that mean to you, a mature tree?
A mature, what will those end up being? Is that the question?
No, are you going to, what are you going to plant that would be, are you actually going to plant a mature tree? Is that the idea?
Oh, the question is, what is the
What is it?
caliper
Yeah.
that we intend to plant?
Caliper,
Yeah.
height, size, tree?
Yeah. Right now it's 4-inch, and along High Street it's sycamore. I believe we have some elms along Fulton, and then Mound, I think I would have to look. I think it's Zelkova. And then within the area along the building facade, I'd also have to look at that, but I think it's probably some shade tree that's likely. Yeah, what
But
was
you're really you're not going to replace mature trees then, obviously.
Yeah, not.
I don't know why you
not
say
really
that.
possible.
No, I wouldn't
Yes,
think
if
would
I
be.
intended, or if I implied
think
that, I
had heard
apologize.
that. I thought I heard that. Maybe I
Yeah.
did not. Okay. All right. Other questions, comments?
I had, can you go back to I think it was the enlarged ADA ramp plaza plan? And I had a question about this.
Whoop, there you go.
I'm wondering
One more
If
back.
Go back
you-
one if you could. There you go.
Right. I'm wondering, do you have any concerns about, as somebody, let's say that's in a wheelchair, is coming up the ramp and then they're going into the main entry and then maybe other people are coming out? Do you feel that that is sort of a tight situation there and that, I guess, that retaining wall, that's where the stairs start?
Yeah, good
should
question.
be pulled back a little bit, like go north slightly? I know you, I'm just wondering how you feel about that, because you'll have people coming.
Yeah, it's a good question.
And maybe there's some room
Yep.
to take a little bit out, but still return those monumental stairs.
Yeah, and so what I would answer there is maybe pausing for a second. This is a pretty big kind of porch space, I'll call it. And so, maybe not truly identifiable on the plan here, but just to give you context, the area, and we can go to the renderings here to reinforce it in a moment, where that red asterisk is there, that face of the building there is 50 feet long. Okay, just for kind of scale. So this covered area that essentially serves as a pre-queuing space for the building itself. Get people out of the weather before they enter, kind of get your keys when you're leaving, right? Get yourself set for all of the kind of formal proceedings you're about to participate in. It's a relatively large volume of covered space. And so the space you're speaking to on the site there, when you get at the top of the ramp between the building face and that small retaining wall, that's about 12 feet. And so that's, essentially more space than me to you, right? So there is ample space there to maneuver. And then additionally, the intention is, one door, the revolving doors will be used day to day, right? By most people, that's the intention. That's how everything will be signed, and that's how the internal systems will be set up. The man doors will be used, obviously, with push buttons for people with mobility challenges. And one will be in and one will be out. So you won't have direct crossover at any one of those particular doors with kind of an issue at the door itself with, let's say, two wheelchairs trying to gain access coming and going. So I do think there's ample room there to maneuver.
Okay, that's great. And then now that we also have this photo here, photo rendering
Yeah.
here as well. And this is just something that I'm not really sure about myself, but I'm just, thinking about it. From the government building on the other side of the street, on the west side of the street, you're going to have a very important view looking at that west wall, the one the solid wall where you have
Yeah.
the emblem and the seal. And I'm just wondering if that needs to be studied a little more. Like, I'm not saying that maybe it needs more transparency, but if it doesn't, maybe something with those panels, something about that wall where, in addition to the seal, makes it unique.
Yeah.
And it's an elegant building and, you don't want to add too many new elements. But I think that might be worth studying because it is a very important focal point.
Yeah.
And you're going to have many people looking at that building and seeing that, head on and where that's located.
Yeah, it's a great point. What I will say, and perhaps in defense of what's on the paper, is maybe a couple thoughts. One, part of that is to set up. One is the program behind that needs a little bit more privacy. So the kind of 2 floors there of public facing program. We felt it was important to not have kind of a direct visual access from that plaza or that kind of porch space. The second piece there was, we felt it was an appropriate space with a little bit more opacity there to put the seal, and we will study that and come back for a signage part of this conversation in the future. But ensuring that had a proper home and it was clearly understood that this is a public facility and part of our courts program here in town. And then I think the third piece of that was by having that be more opaque and then the transparency of the lobby volume itself, it gave us an opportunity to create a bit more juxtaposition there and really highlight some of the more public-facing program within that lobby and some of the art elements we're looking to bring forward there. So it became less about the focal point of the wall and more about the focal point of some of the program that's drawing the public into that internal atrium space.
Okay.
Okay. Anything else we need to look at with you then? I think we've been discussing largely the site plan.
Yep.
Did you have any other items you wanted to discuss? Are these the pavers?
These are the precast samples, and the pavers will be very similar. We don't have the actual site pavers with us today.
And one of
As
them
a-
is acid etched in the other plane. Is
is
that the
a
idea?
light sandblast. Yeah.
Okay.
So the intention there is it's a pretty large building, right? 300,000 plus square feet. I think 160 or 162 feet, if I'm doing that from memory. The smallest panel on the building is about 4 by 15 feet, right? So, just for context, maybe another 30% bigger than one of the windows behind you. And so we felt it was important to have a little bit of texture there so that the building has, doesn't kind of turn plastic and just feel like nothing, so to speak. And I know we talked when we were here previously, about looking at alternate materials. We did do a pretty robust budget analysis of stone. It just wasn't realistic. And so we are working hard to get as much, kind of leverage out of the precast architectural precast concrete as possible. And so adding additional, a little bit of additional finish there and a little bit of additional detailing to help it, come to life and not feel flat.
From a security perspective, I have a truck between that bollard and that bollard.
You cannot. I think the rendering is missing a couple bollards. As we've negotiated with the city, those bollards that are shown in the right of way there are ending up back on our property line. So those steps will have bollards directly in front of them on both sides. Yeah. Is that right?
That is true.
Yeah.
And the, you want to just walk us through if you got samples here real
Sure.
quick on some of these materials?
So the precast is noted. This is the panel. So essentially the infill, everything that's vertical on the building has a little bit more texture. And then just to get a little bit of separation, the horizontal, so the banding on the building is more of the light etch, which looks a little bit more kind of stone-like, a little bit more limestone, a little flatter. And then these are kind of a mix almost between a gray and a buff concrete, very similar in coloration to what's on the Common Pleas building out there.
And that is the color you're planning on using?
That is the intention. Yeah.
Okay.
And then the metal, so the framing is kind of a medium, slightly warm tone. I'll call it gray. We can debate it, color theory all day. And then the entry there, the soffit material. And so what we've looked at doing, again, because the building's so big and we really want to humanize this entry experience and really bring it down to the scale of the individuals entering, we've looked at kind of a shingle scale material on that soffit, but doing it in kind of a flatter color there. So we don't have quite the degree of variegation as shown there, but something that just has a little bit of texture and a little bit of bite. So it's not just, more flat surface. And then the rest of this really is glass samples. If you're curious to see, basically,
Is it
pretty
clear glass
neutral.
in the building then?
I beg your pardon?
Clear glass?
It's clear glass. So it's I would call it very clear, not a technical term, but at the lobby, it's about 85% VLT, which in this day and age is essentially as clear as you can make glass. And then at the tower, and the idea there is it's undercover. We want people to be able to see in and promote that transparency off the street. And then at the tower, it's a neutral glass. It's still highly visible. So we've reduced the exterior reflectance so that you can actually see in day and night. But it's a little bit less visual light transmittance, more like a 63 to 65% on those two.
And that is because you've obscured the glass, or that's because of the reflective
Yeah,
quality?
let me just show you. Maybe it'll make more sense.
More about this than I do.
So this is lobby glass.
Okay.
It's essentially as clear as you can make it without paying a fortune and buying something from Germany.
Okay.
The vision glass on the building itself is this. So again,
So that's tinted though.
this is the coatings that essentially give it its performance, give it a subtle tint. Yeah, so
Okay.
it's got a little bit of green, but that would be called a neutral glass in the glass world. And then what you can see is not a ton.
And that's an energy
energy.
consideration, basically.
I did bring a sample just to help kind of give a
Sure.
context here. So this is kind of the opposite. We're not proposing this, but this just help you guys with the conversation. That is the other way you can go, where it has slightly less green to it. It turns more blue silver, which you can see this gets its performance by a lot more exterior reflectance, and so you can't see through it during the.
So the one that you're proposing, when you're on the interior, will read as clear glass. Is that okay?
When you're on the interior, I'm happy to hand these to you. There's essentially no kind of color rendition difference when you're on the interior. Your average person.
Because it does look, when we're sitting in the room, it looks tinted to me, but okay.
It's good. I like the
Um,
one you chose.
I do
is it
too.
The one you chose, the glass that you chose.
Yeah, but part of that is I've explained it to our client and our team. It's maybe a personal bias, but I think glasses that are a little bit more transparent and a little less reflectance pair better with masonry buildings. The masonry kind of lives with the snow and the rain and everything else, and it just feels like a better match and a little less kind of contemporary to this kind of masonry that's got a little bit more life to it. But that's my personal.
And what's the
personal opinion.
silverish anodized kind of material down there?
So this is the
Almost corrugated.
material which will be colored to match. And so this is the for the penthouse. So for
Okay.
essentially the rooftop mechanical and
Colored to match the
colored to match
the other. Okay.
Do you,
And that's the only color of metal you have on the entire building then, is that
except for the
correct?
bridge.
I was wondering if we could talk about the bridge.
We do want to talk about bridge,
Yeah,
yeah.
please.
Okay.
By the way, are we done on your thoughts on the exterior and that kind of thing? Any other questions?
I think so. Yeah, unless you've got questions.
While we're visiting that, anything? Is all of the audience with the city then? Oh,
Pretty much. That's our team.
well, I assume you guys are in favor of it then, right? Yeah, okay, good.
Gluttons for punishment.
Yeah,
Ask about I know you'll be going through the bridge, but just some of the things that, I have some questions about that you might want to touch on when you're talking about the bridge. I think I understand that these fins that are coming out are made of aluminum, similar to the, I guess the system, the
Yeah.
front system of the curtain wall system of the bridge. And so I think I understand that. And I had some questions about the coloration of
Yep.
these fins, and also strategies that you might be thinking about to give the bridge as much transparency as possible, but still keeping, the elements that are important to you and the design aesthetic that you're trying to achieve. But at the same time, I think last time, a number of us were concerned about the bridge looking too dark,
Yeah.
perhaps, and a little heavy. And, so just wondering about that. And
Yeah, good question.
then I had a.
Sure. So what we've done, we've gone through a little bit on glass here, right? And so the super high transparent glass at the lobby that we can get away with because it's covered effectively, and big building, we kind of manage that through the larger energy code. The kind of tinted glass, I'll call it, just to use your term, is the primary glass for the building itself. And so in thinking about your kind of feedback we got at conceptual review for the bridge, two things we did was we thinned up a little bit the density of the fins themselves. And then we also have worked to make the glass there slightly more transparent than what's on the building here. So kind of the same, it's like a cousin essentially. And so that's this. That's this glass here that kind of sits really between the two samples we've just looked at. And so why I bring that up, one is trying to just promote as much transparency as possible within the base structure there, within reason, right? And so when I say within reason, we've got to remember this is a south-facing bridge, right? You make it with glass, it's going to take on a lot of heat load in the summer, and we want this thing to be acceptable, for the occupants that pass through it. Inhabitable, exactly. And so the second thing we've done there was something that came up last time we were here was, thinking about this a little bit more artistically. And so playing with color a little bit. And the logic here was this bridge really is about continuity of the court's program, right? And so we really need that for the continuity of just, the service that the court provides us. The second piece of that really was this idea that this is linking old and new. And so what we played with was this idea of these kind of bronzy copper tones really reflecting that story, and something that was more of kind of a patinaed copper color at the old building, and then becomes more of the kind of rich patinated new coppery color at the new building. And using that playfully as a story to, one, just break it down a little bit, which I think was part of it, lighten it up through a different, kind of concept. And then two, just being playful with the light coloration that comes through that bridge, and just, a little bit of kind of experiential relief as you walk across this bridge internally as well. And so, Chris, if you hold this for a second. The color samples that you're seeing on the rendering here. And so the idea is, kind of warm to a neutral cool. And if I can move my fingers for you guys, you tell me if that's all right. Really giving just kind of a soft gradient to it without being, kind of overly, variegated, so to speak.
I just had a comment, and this is something maybe to think about. Just personally, I feel like the darkness of the underside and maybe the support elements being dark and bronze are giving it a heaviness.
Yeah.
And it's just a personal thing. I'm just wondering if, as you explore the bridge, maybe looking at the underside being lighter.
Yep.
And then maybe the trusses inside and other support elements being lighter might bring out these fins a little more and give a lightness to them. And then I know you were talking about how important it is on the south face to keep those fins dense. Maybe on the north face, they don't have to be as dense. And that can also add a sense of transparency too, even if you're looking from the south.
Fair point.
So
Yeah.
those are just some thoughts I had about the bridge.
Okay.
I think that's a good idea about the maybe little fewer fins on the north side if,
Yeah,
could make
the soffit,
element, yeah.
I think we're completely willing to look at that. I think for the soffit piece, what we tried to do was keep it in the same color family as the soffits on the building itself. And so that was
I
what was
guess I
driving
wouldn't,
that.
I don't, to my taste, I don't think I'd want it too light. I like the idea that it kind of anchors this
Yeah.
structure along there. So I'd like it a little, for my taste, maybe a little darker.
Did I interrupt you?
No, not at all.
It does feel a little heavy to me. If I think about, the image you have of the lobby and the transparency of the lobby and the light and airiness of the lobby, I know it's obviously not a lobby. It's a different architectural thing, and I don't want to redesign it for you. I wish it had the lightness of this lobby and the common pleas lobby and the glassiness and the transparency, rather than but by the way, this is elegantly designed. That's not my point.
Yeah.
First point is I wish it wasn't there, but we're over that. But it does read, like I'm looking at the image on the back wall right now, which would sort of be like driving down High Street from a few blocks away. And it just kind of looks like a black stripe, and everything else, we've seen, I think, is really elegant. I would really, my personal preference would be to lighten this thing up significant orders of magnitude to the extent that that's possible.
And so what would that mean? Removing some of the fins, you mean, or?
I don't know. These are the professional architects.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just, what was here years ago was a dark.
Right.
Yeah, dark bronze glass tube, right?
And it's been nice not having that there, frankly.
If you finish, I'm gonna.
No. Anyway, that's it. Thank you.
I was just gonna say, does this get lit at night?
That is a good question. Yeah, I have to think about that. There is no specific lighting in that sense that we're, intending to dramatize it. The kind of basic lighting of that space will require to stay on for egress
On the
requirements
inside.
internally on the inside. So it will be lit on the inside for that. Now those will, at night in particular, will drop down in terms of their kind of foot candle or their brightness, just based on after hour use sort of thing.
We can't really tell, how far apart are those fins there?
They're a foot. It's a big building. It's a
And
big
how-
bridge.
And
Yeah.
then how deep are they?
So right now they're close to 12 inches. And so I think maybe to Jeff's point, I mean, I would start probably thinning up the depth, which I think will immediately relieve it, and then maybe thinning out the cadence. They're on a 1 foot module, and they kind of fall off here and there. So you generally have one
I
about
kind of like
1
the
foot.
fins, but I think if it did feel like it were more transparent, that might get closer to the lighter kind of effect that
Are they, I'm
could
just,
be attractive.
along those same lines, the fins, are they being manufactured by the same company that would be manufacturing the actual?
Yeah, that whole assembly will
window
be
systems?
one vendor. Correct. Yeah.
Plus, I don't know if there would be other products out there, other materials, like something that could serve also as a fin that would be like a sunscreen, but that might not be metal. That would be, I don't know, some type of glass or some type of other material that has a translucency to it.
Yep.
But if, how you're designing it is, however, this system is being designed, the framing system, that's part of it. It might get very expensive if you're trying to add another
Right.
material and then figure out how that's engineered. That might become very, very difficult.
Yeah, I think when in a system like that, you really have a small handful of options. I think you've hit on it. I think it's really metal. You could do glass. I think there's real challenges with keeping that clean long term, frankly. And then you can do things like you could do masonry products. You could even do wood. I'd have to look into that in the code. But again, long term durability projects that I think would be problematic for the city and the courts.
Mhm. Well, maybe like everyone is saying, to just try to see what's the minimal you need using the fins that will still, make it functional
Yeah.
for the south facing, and seeing if you can either expand them or shorten them or do something with the truss system to lighten that, something
Yeah.
so that you still have that beautiful effect that you're going after, but that it looks like it's floating and part of the project, not like a heaviness that's been
Yeah.
set there as an afterthought.
Fair enough.
I kind of like this is odd, but I like your little flashes of red in there, but you're not proposing those. I mean, I think that could, even if it's just
Yeah,
6 or 8 of them along there, or just a little brightness in there.
We had one more that was, kind of a true reddish patina copper. When you get the actual sample, it felt a little too far from the rest of them to where all of a sudden, the idea of a gradient falls apart. I mean, happy to look at it. I do think just my gut without having drawn it, that probably the easiest way to get to a happy medium is probably focusing on, as Jenna noted, probably looking at only doing it on the south where it truly is performative, and maybe not bothering on the north is probably, honestly, because you do read it, it's a narrow space. And so when you look at this, you are reading fins on both sides. And so that's part of what's giving the additional visual density, is because you're
Oh, you
reading
don't
two
have
sets.
fins on the north side. You're not
We
proposing.
do. And I actually think that as step one would probably be what would reduce that kind of visual density and that experience as you're kind of reading it on the page today.
And you could still, when you're looking from the north, to the south, you would still
See fins.
see something
See through it again.
interesting
Exactly.
going on
Yeah.
beyond.
Because there does come a challenge point where you reduce it enough on a single face, and all of a sudden there's not enough of it there to like be a thing anymore, right? There's not enough kind of density for it to be read as a whole. And so that would be just kind of as a designer, the concern about thinning out one face too much.
Can you focus out on this little screenshot here for a second, Belkis? Yeah. What's the thing in the upper right-hand corner?
That's the soffit of the building. The corner pulls back there. I think you can see it better if we go back 2 or 3 slides. I think it's just showing up very,
Got it.
very
Okay,
kind of,
thank you.
pixelated in that image. Yep.
Looked like a brick panel. Thank you. Okay. Other questions, comments, thoughts? The group? Questions from the audience? Nope.
You're going to let me sweat it.
Where are we, guys? What do we want to do?
This is for final approval, right?
This is for approval, yes. They're requesting approval. And we've made a lot of comments. I don't know whether we want to try to incorporate those or what's your timing? Are you looking for final approval today? I mean, do you need it? Is it?
So, cards on the table, what is most important to us is get to demolition. And so I think, particularly like these bridge comments, I think these are things we happily to look at. I think the challenge for us is we need approval, right, to get to the demolition, some sort of conditional approval.
Gotcha.
And that has a seasonal timing component for us with
So
what we're doing for that demolition.
Let's just say that, there's some things we're getting awful close. But it wouldn't hurt to kind of burnish this a little bit, tweak it. Does that make sense? And would people feel comfortable? This is a deal that's going to go, okay? I mean, you're committed to build this building, right?
Yep.
You have financing too, right? So I think we could, and it would be consistent with what we have done over time, agree to issue a demolition permit. Because I think where we are on this, and we've all discussed this, I think we like the building. The building is better than what we've got, maybe in spades. And now we're down to some details. I think it'd be better than trying to go do one of these convoluted motions to kind of incorporate this stuff. And then we don't know what, maybe get them to come back if you'd be willing to do that.
Happy to come back.
And then we could say go on demolition. Does that make sense to?
Yeah, I think maybe
That
some
makes sense
additional
to you?
detail on landscape,
Yeah.
planting, materials, vertical landscape walls, things like that, just so that we understand the pedestrian environment.
Sure. Yep.
Just a click more, nothing excessive.
This is a large,
Yep.
very visible, very important building for our city here. So we all want it, and I know you do. We all
we
want to get
appreciate
it
the
right.
importance of it for sure.
And so I think I would be happy to entertain a motion to approve demolition on this site and then ask these folks to come back then
And
with some of these comments.
And I think like studying the bridge, like you said, with some of the things that you're thinking of doing, so we can see maybe a couple of options and discuss what meets the goals the best.
Sure.
That would be
And
really.
procedurally, this works for you then?
Yeah, since you all have seen the plans for new development and new construction, you're comfortable with,
Yes.
this isn't tied to anything, so we're just
Right.
approving a demolition here.
I think we
It's
are,
not
yeah.
tied to
Yeah.
a condition that anything be built, but if you all are comfortable with that, clearly the plans are, thorough, so.
And we're
I'm comfortable.
doing it on the basis that we're very familiar and very
Mhm.
comfortable with
Yeah.
where we are on the
Yeah.
plan. So, but we want to spend a few more minutes on the details.
Perfect.
Do we have?
We'll be
could I
back
have
as fast as we can get back.
Great. Could I have a motion to that effect then, please, for demolition? Or did somebody make a motion?
Motion for demolition.
Yes, to approve a demolition.
Yes, to approve the demolition.
Okay. And is there a second?
Second.
Other questions, comments, thoughts? Okay. Anything I'm not even going to ask the audience. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed? That motion carries. So we'll issue that demolition permit for you there, or our approval for that. And then we'll see you shortly. Yeah, thanks for coming in. I think it's going to be a great building, and that can be a very interesting little piece of the geography in downtown Columbus. So.
Yeah, and I appreciated the attention you put on the High Street side. It was a good solution. I like the idea of it, of the people not going back and forth, the jaywalking, all that kind of stuff. So good job on that.
Right. Yep. Thanks so much.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Anything else we need to approve the
The staff.
staff approvals?
Yeah.
Could I have a motion to do that?
So moved.
Okay, a motion on the table. Any questions or comments on that? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Motion carries. Tomorrow we have the Harrison Smith Awards. Anybody coming to that to join us? Great, great, good. We'll see you tomorrow then. And by the way, it's at Veterans Memorial.
Yes.
So, and we get parking right there on the side. Good. Anything else we need to review, think about, talk about? Belkis is going to just send around some phone numbers. So we all, if we need to contact people, if we have any kind of an emergency situation arise,
Cool.
like it happened today, so we can, maybe that'll come in handy. So let's see. Anything else we need to discuss, Belkis?
No, that's it. You'll get some, like a housekeeping email from me.
Great. Okay. Well, thanks everybody for your time. Appreciate it. And